Welcome to EL-Bethel Global News. Wars and rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, kingdom against kingdom are the end-time warnings listed out in the Bible in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 24. This world has been seeing wars for centuries, but with the recent one between Iran, US and Israel, we are inching much closer to the fulfillment of the prophecies in the Bible. Israel-U.S.-Iran war intensifies as fresh explosions rocked Iran on Saturday following Israel's announcement of what it described as a preemptive attack. Blasts were reported near the offices of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The attack follows weeks of tension. Israel stated the operation aimed to remove threats. Mobile and internet services were disrupted in parts of the capital. Both countries shut their airspace. President Donald Trump calls for regime change. He described the US military campaign as massive and ongoing and warned American lives may be lost and called on Iranians to take over your government. There is a mixed response among ordinary Iranians. Panic in the streets, but also, for some, a sense of relief. The US is also planning for several days of attacks. Iran retaliates. Iran responded to the attacks by launching an unprecedented wave of strikes toward Israel and US targets across the Middle East. Explosions were reported in a number of countries, including the UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar. Multiple explosions were heard near Abu Dhabi's main airport, raising concerns about safety in the area. The Embassy of India in the United Arab Emirates issued an urgent advisory in view of the current regional situation. It asked all Indian nationals in the UAE to avoid unnecessary travel, take due care, remain vigilant, and follow safety guidelines and advisories issued by the UAE authorities and the embassy. We all know that the US President Donald Trump insisted talks with Iran for many weeks, but had warned that he may take action against Iran if a nuclear deal was not reached. And so, there is a war today. So what did the US demand from Iran? No nukes? Halt Iran's uranium enrichment? Cut its ballistic missile program? No support for proxy groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. The last round of talks with the US in Geneva last week didn't go quite well. Negotiations that many saw as a last chance for their ruling theocracy to strike a deal with the US President Donald Trump. Remember, Tehran doesn't just say death to Israel, but also death to America. So you have both the US and Israel trying hard to deal with their archenemy Iran. This is a war of choice. As the tensions rose in the Middle East, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu last week. India and Israel are all set to cement their ties, which will bring the Indian and Israeli defense industry to co-develop weapon systems in India by keeping utmost secrecy on sharing of technology. By making his second trip to Israel at the time when tensions between US and Iran are at the highest, PM Modi is sending a signal to the world. And what is it? India will always stand with friends. President Donald Trump's policies have set the stage by strengthening Israel's position globally, making the moment ripe. But for what? The urgency to fulfill Persian King Cyrus's unfinished work thousands of years ago. And what is it? To build the third Jewish temple. The Temple Mount, site of the first and second temples, for now hosts foreign structures and trees planted to obscure its sanctity. Jewish law demands the area be cleared of all alien elements, from domes and mosques to the cypress and olive groves, to prepare for reconstruction of the temple. Read Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 2. The Orthodox Jews believe that Jerusalem rises when Jews act on the divine mandate, building the third temple as the house of prayer for all nations. The enemies plot in vain. The land promised to Abraham endures. What prophet Jeremiah prophesied in Jeremiah chapter 49 about Elam, that is Iran, is coming to pass. The Jews believe that it is time for restoration and for Jerusalem to shine as the eternal capital with its temple rebuilt. But the Bible is very clear that this temple will indeed be built, but it is not for the God of Israel, but for the Antichrist. Read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 4. Russia says Trump and Israel are plunging the Middle East into the abyss with this war. So let's wait and see how this is going to pan out. Is China going to join? We do not know, but that's how it looks. Stay tuned. See you all in the next update.